Hey there, my name's Ryan Dossi, and in today's video, we're going to talk about lead generation, particularly lead generation in the real estate field. Now, we're going to do a whole series on this. We were going to try to do it in one video, and then we realized it was going to end up being rather long. So today, we're going to talk about my #1 source of off-market investment properties, and that is direct mail. Let's dive right in. I want to make sure that you stick around all the way to the end of this video because I'm going to give you kind of a secret tip that goes against a lot of what the other gurus and people are preaching when it comes to direct to seller marketing. How they're telling you to do it might have worked back in like 2003, 4, 2010 or 11 when I was just starting out, but it's simply no longer the case in today's economy. So make sure you stick around to the very end. When it comes to lead generation with direct mail, a lot of folks are jaded because maybe they've tried it in the past and it didn't really go all that well for them, or they kind of look at it as like, hey, that was how grandpa marketed or found deals. The fact of the matter is I know a lot of real estate investors and work with a lot of real estate investment firms that are buying 100+ properties a year. And we all have the same thing in common. Direct mail is our most consistent and most scalable source of deals. If you're not wanting to have a campaign that goes out and you get no results back, because I get it, I'll be the first one to admit direct mail is expensive and it's frustrating when marketing campaigns don't perform like we think they should. The #1 thing you've got to get dialed in before you spend $1 on direct mail is your targeting. Who are you actually reaching out to? Now, probably the most saturated list is absentee owners with equity. I've bought literally more properties than I can count from this list, but it is super competitive. A lot of investors, particularly newbies, make the mistake of just marketing to absentee owners and then being like surprised that it's not like, gangbusters in their favor. So you want to make sure that you're kind of getting into the data a little bit more. Historically, the more difficult it is for you to get that info, the better that list is going to perform. I'm not going to give you like a how-to step-by-step on various lists on this video. We have a ton of them on my channel, so shameless plug to like this video, subscribe, and go watch them later. But a couple of good examples. One could be like a water shutoff list. This is not something that's going to be easy to get. It's going to vary by county and by utility company. However, if they don't have running water, that's a pretty good sign that whoever's in that property probably shouldn't be, or the owner of it might be wanting or needing to sell it. Another niche that can be a little bit more difficult to get but works really well is properties that were involved in fires. A lot of the times there's a large insurance check coming, but it doesn't really feel like home anymore. Maybe kind of that feeling of safety has been lost. And we find people all the time, particularly after natural disasters, that they just want to be done with it. They don't want to go back through the process kind of with those negative memories. A third list that's a little bit more difficult to get, but is one I absolutely love if you can find it, is tax delinquent. Because these are one of the situations where if they don't sell it, well, it's going to be taken from them. So it's a good list as a real estate investor to get in front of people that might kind of have some potential motivation or need to sell the property when it comes to lead generation. The second big takeaway for direct mail lead generation as a real estate investor is using honest copy. This is probably like one of my big pet peeves in the industry. There's a lot of coaches and gurus that are pushing just some dishonest BS. It's like, well, you're going to get a 12% response rate of people who are going to hate you, but they're going to call, right? So some examples of this are like the final notice postcard. I'm not really going to get into does it work? Doesn't matter if it works, you're being disingenuous. It's not honest. You're not running a business based on integrity. If you're sending something out that's like, I've been trying to reach you, this is my third and final attempt, and it's your first attempt, you're literally starting out that business relationship with a lie. That's just not how I believe in doing business. Another one I see all the time that I loathe is the oh, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my wife and I we would love to purchase your home. We're starting a new family. And it's like you're an investor looking for fix and flips, pretending you're like a small time couple that's struggling to find something on the market. Like, just don't be sketchy. It's not that difficult. Another one that I've seen done pretty often is like there might be a problem with your property piece. I knew somebody who I won't name that did some letters that was like, howdy neighbor, there's a problem, or there might be a problem with your house, call me at phone number. He was like, man, I'm getting a great response rate. It's like, dude, that's super, super sketchy though. So don't focus just on response rate. Some pieces that come to mind with that are like the Street View postcards. Not like a deal machine thing, but there was a API where you could actually pull the fronts of properties. And at our answering service called Porter, we were getting so many calls of sellers that got this that felt like violated or somebody had been on their property and shouldn't have been. So just because you're getting a great response rate doesn't mean that it's the right way to do it. You want to use honest copy. What I do with my marketing is super simple. I state who I am, what I'm interested in, and what I would like them to do next. So it could be a super simple like, Dear John and Sarah, what are your plans for 123 Main Street? I prepared a cash offer that I'd love to discuss with you. Please give my office a call at phone number, right? So they know they're calling, they're not gonna get me, it's going to an office. We're trying to kind of eliminate some of those objections before they even come up. The third thing I recommend is trying to make your lead generation look more like it's coming from a family member or a friend than like a bulk, conglomerate. And the way we do that is like a local postmark. So if you're ordering your mail from a mail house, have them box it up and ship it to you where you're like cutting it open and putting it into the mail locally, the way you've got that local postmark. Sellers look at this stuff, believe it or not. If you've got a California return address and you're marketing to people in California, but your mail's postmarked in Texas, you're gonna catch some heat for it of people who like think that they've found you out because you were pretending to be local. We also don't really get into like the pre-sorted, pre-canceled, bar-coded, like mass-produced looking mail because that kind of ruins the whole like individualized, personalized touch of somebody, ripping the piece open because they think it's a birthday card or something from a family member or friend. The fourth thing to have dialed in is making sure that your design stands out. You don't want to just send like a white envelope with a white piece of paper in it, with like Times New Roman printed on it. You want it to be something that's like local or colorful or bright, something that doesn't look like everything else that you're getting in the mail. A good way to kind of like litmus test this, collect all the junk that comes in your mail for like a couple days, and then just look and see what all's being sent. We're not using like windowed envelopes or stuff that there's a piece of mail I hate that looked like a check where you had to like pull off the corners and you opened it and it was like, you could be getting a cash offer, right? You want to stand out with something that looks more personalized, that looks like, full color, something that they're excited to open or kind of triggers that like, I really wonder what this is. The fifth tip I'm going to recommend is just kind of super practical. It's not anything like earth-shattering, but it's kind of timing the delivery cycles of your local market. So in most markets that I've seen, most of the junk mail shows up on Monday, Tuesday, or Saturday. So ideally, you're not trying to land on the day as like all of the bills or all of the other stuff shows up. So we like to drop our mail locally at the post office on Saturdays. In my experience, that means the mail's typically hitting Wednesday or Thursday when somebody's not like rushing out the door thinking about the weekend. They're not dreading the fact that they're back at work and they're not drowning in direct mail. Kind of helps it stand out a little bit on just trying to get your mail piece in there on a day when it's not super saturated. The final takeaway I've got for you here is to tie all of your direct mail back to your local brand or company. There's this like old school thought of like, people don't want to work with companies, they want to work with individuals. And that might have been the case in like 2002 and 2003. However, that's no longer the case in 2021. Sellers are absolutely used to being able to check out reviews before they're spending money, right? Amazon, Yelp, Google reviews, Facebook reviews has kind of ruined this for all of us. I don't know about you guys, but when my wife and I are looking for where we're going to go to dinner, we're not like, oh, that place has 1 star, we should probably check it out. We're like, no. What do we normally do when we're shopping? We sort by price and then by quality and try to find a balance between those two. If you think homeowners aren't trying to dig into who sent them a letter before they call you to sell you one of the largest things they own, you're absolutely kidding yourself. I'm personally using direct mail from Ballpoint Marketing, which is a business that I own. In the comments, I'll link to my actual pieces so you can see what I'm personally sending. These are responsible for the bulk majority of the off-market properties that I'm purchasing as rentals, wholesales, and fix and flips. So if you want to see what I'm sending, I'm not going to hide it. I'll share it so you can check it out. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.